What did a crush do that made you immediately lose interest? He would ask me questions about myself, then cut me off in the middle of my answer to talk about himself. I was casually dating a 19-year-old guy when I was 18. He seemed totally normal until I met him at his house before a date and his mom asked him to take the garbage out before we left. He threw a fit that would embarrass most 3-year-olds, including crying, yelling at his mom, and punching the floor. I pretended that my parents were calling and needed me to come home, blocked his number, and never saw him again. Back in college, I was seeing a girl casually. Whenever we'd text, she'd take hours to respond to any message. It wasn't a big deal, since most of the time it was just chatting or setting plans for the following weekend or something. It was a little annoying because it'd take a full day or two to set up plans because of the slow responses, but whatever. I'm a bad texter, so I can't really judge someone for that. But I started to notice that when we hung out together, she'd immediately respond back to any and every text she got. She had some loud song as the ringtone that played for like 15 seconds, and set it so that her camera LED would flash constantly while it rang. Totally obnoxious and made me really notice how often she texted. I casually asked her who she was texting one time, and it was just some friend from school that had sent her a meme. After that I realized it wasn't going to work. Being a slow texter is fine. Constantly texting while hanging out was annoying, but not a deal breaker, especially if we were just chilling at one of our houses. But the realization that this person who was glued to her phone but didn't feel like it was a priority to respond back to my texts made me feel unimportant, so I kinda just drifted away. We stayed friends because we shared the same group of friends and it wasn't awkward or anything. I just stopped trying to do things with just the two of us. He let it slip that he was cheating on his in getting together with me. Killed that crushy feeling dead. Met a woman, thought she seemed cool. We went out to eat, she's telling me about how she fell on financial hard times and moved back in with her parents. The way she described it, just sounded like she got unlucky, not that she did anything irresponsible. It happens. When the bill came I told her I'd pay. She said, "Thanks, I appreciate that, I'm trying to save my money right now." Me, "Sure, I understand, you want to get your own place again." Her, "No, actually I mean I'm trying to save up $500 for a tattoo I want to get. I've got nothing against spending money on tattoos, but when you've just spent a first date talking about the financial troubles you have, maybe now's the time to start putting money away for necessities, not tattoos." Poured lemonade on my head in the middle of a fireworks show. She thought it was flirty and cute. Said she would turn up on a date, then flaked. Told me she had been called into work urgently. I said okay, that's cool. Second time she flaked again, said that she had to tutor someone. Which made no sense because would you not have that planned? Went on a date with them and they didn't ask me anything about myself. It was completely one-sided, like a job interview or something. I'm a guy, by the way. I ran into an old crush a few years back who told me he was into dog baiting. The candle had blown out a long time ago as far as my crush was concerned, but that pretty much killed any intention I had of trying to restart our friendship. She told me her future plans to essentially become a gold digger like her mother. When I laughed it off, she couldn't see what I thought was so funny. We were eating dinner out and he was rude to the server. Told him, we were pretty close friends, it would be nice to add a please or thank you. He said, why should I? She's a waitress, implying he feels superior, and I pay her to do her job. Instant turn off and didn't really want to hang out with him even as friends after the incident. We were driving down the road and she threw a Starbucks cup right out the window. Gross. She told me that spanking her teenage daughter didn't work, because it wasn't satisfying enough. Edit, a bit of context. This was long ago, and far away, in a European country. The mother was a statuesque blonde divorcee, and the daughter was about 14, and headed for trouble. Corporal punishment was de rigueur at the time, both here and in Europe. I decided that the situation was hopeless, and noped out of there ASAP. The daughter hated her mother, big surprise, and went on to get pregnant and force her mother to raise the child. I came back to the States and still consider myself lucky to have dodged that bullet. He wouldn't talk to me in person for some reason. Crush comes to my house. I explain how I'm slowly remodeling it and my plans for my house. She then starts telling me I shouldn't and I should do it her way, and let her take it over and let her design, decorate, and do it all. The hell I will. I went on 2 dates with a girl when I was in college. She was wonderful but immediately wanted to be official and started drafting Instagram posts about us. She wanted to spend every day together and have sleepovers every night. It was so out of nowhere and we literally knew nothing about one another. I tried to look past it, but she asked me to be her first and I got uncomfortable. She seemed naive and I didn't want to take advantage. I suggested we take things slow and she took offense. I cut things off and her reaction was super childish. All of this in a 3-week period. Sweet girl, but the pacing was off. He talked about how he wanted to loosen up some boring family at a wedding reception, so he spiked their drinks with party drugs. Asked me to be their wingman because they had a crush on my best friend. A woman I was talking to was recently divorced and had moved back in with her parents. She already had a child and a couple pets and was talking about getting another pet, and her parents told her no. She chose to go ahead and get another pet anyhow, and basically her parents began pushing her out the door. And it was a stressful situation for her and I suggested she talk to her folks. However, once she told me she was grown and made her own decisions and did not care about their rules, I suddenly understood and quickly lost interest. He started dating one of my friends after I told her that I had a crush on him. She tried hooking up with every guy she knew I had a crush on. I felt like I couldn't like anyone. Edit. This was back in 2012. We're not on bad terms, but I rarely speak to her now. Gave me a 5-minute lecture on conditions where cheating is okay. We would be great in person, both of us would have a laugh and genuinely had an amazing connection, but trying to get a text back takes days. It's really difficult to arrange to spend more time together when she barely replies to me. I massively lost interest after this. Coworker at work had just a beautiful energy, absolutely lovely to be around, always smiling at everyone, and she would laugh at my jokes, and she made some comments from time to time that made me feel validated and understood, which was very, very flattering, like she guessed my passions in life and told them to me, with a big smile while looking me in the eyes, and I'm a reserved guy who doesn't share that stuff. All just very lovely. One day we're in the break room and she's talking to another guy the same way and I'm consciously talking myself out of being jealous. You're not dating or anything, you don't even have her cell phone number. She's allowed to be lovely with other people now, come on, no reason to be jealous. Then when the guy leaves, she turns to the girl next to her and says, "God, I hate that guy." And I had just been jealous that she was treating him exactly like she treats me. I still feel foolish when I think about it, like, does she like me or hate me? She generalized everyone. She was also such a bitch to everyone that she didn't understand. He plays video games? Wow, when do you think he'll move out of his mother's basement? Wow, she wears so much makeup, can you imagine what she's hiding under that face? Just such a mean-spirited person, and it completely turned me off. He would steal people's tips off the bar counter when we were at a bar together with friends. Then he would offer to buy me food with it. No thank you. I had a crush on a guy in high school who was a little bit of a rebel. Nothing serious, but definitely had a bad boy thing going on. One day in class the teacher told him to do something minor and he flipped out, basically had a temper tantrum and refused. Totally killed all interest by being an asshole for no reason. Kicked a dog. Instantly lost all attraction. He snapped his fingers at a waitress, then as I looked mortified, he whistled. He was making fun of a disabled woman. Instantly not interested. Was pretty rude to and consistently teased his roommate's dog. Just be nice to animals. Not that hard. Chat on a stage in Lloret in Spain. Got so drunk at a party that she shit herself. The smell is really what did it. I had a harmless crush on a married friend that I did not signal or act on, ever. I've been the spurned wife before. I kept my distance and did everything short or unfriending him on Facebook. He slid on into my DMs right after my separation became public knowledge. He was still married to his wife. I didn't respond. They are divorced now. She's a really lovely person and deserves so much better. She tried to hook up with one of the members of Air Supply. I was having a party and the drinks were flowing. Went to check on her cause she had disappeared for a while. As I opened the door, I see her sitting on a small waste basket taking a shit in my bedroom. I couldn't get that picture out of my head. I know I've done my fair share of dumb stuff, but still couldn't forget it. Edit. Well, this blew up. Thanks for the gold, you awesome random person. Edit 2. Woke up to platinum. Thanks so much. It's gonna be a good day. Said, why do you hang out with that N asterisk 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 anyway? Hard R. Oh gee, I don't know. Maybe cause he's been my best friend since 2nd grade and amp always has my back. That was enough for me to realize she's ugly. He started fingering me while we made out, then reached into his drawer, pulled out lube and squirted it all over my nether region and my panties, which were still on. Then proceeds to grab my throat and kiss me before he leans over and takes a sip of water out of his water bottle, only to then spit it onto the lubey vagina mess. A grown-ass man spat onto my vagina. I thought that only happened in porn? That's a no from me, dog. Claimed women were only a sex relief for men and couldn't be as smart as them. Then proceeded to ask me to have sex with him. Edit. Since some people are asking, copy-pasting from another comment of mine about what happened afterwards. I asked him if he has a lot of sex. Yes, of course, then you can go ask another girl, because I am not going to have sex with you. We were out. He bugged me 2 hours and a half. I am not kidding you. It was actually that much time, trying to convince me that having sex with him was going to be the best experience in my life. I let him talk 2 hours, even pretended to almost be interested. Then at the end of his rant I repeated, I would rather die a virgin. He was pretty offended. EDIT2. To solve another of you guys' curiosities, I didn't expect this to blow up so much. Thanks a lot. I had a crush on him in high school, and he wasn't like that as a teenager. He was a weirdo, but not sexist at least, and if he was, he made sure nobody noticed. Then we went our separate ways, but I couldn't forget him, so after a year I asked him to meet again and that's what happened. Shit personality. Doesn't matter how hot you are, if all you have are looks, people will notice once you get any one-on-one time with them. Not a crush but an ex. Jiggled the door handle while I was taking a shit and then got angry that I wouldn't let her in. Her, why can't I come in? Are you not comfortable with me or something? We're dating. It had been 3 days. Edit. Corrected would to wouldn't and thank you for the karma, strangers. Glad my ex did at least one good thing for me, lol. My family is Jewish, and my grandfather survived the Holocaust. On the second date he told me he was a neo-Nazi, or at least on the path to becoming one. When I told him I was Jewish, and also politically very left, he told me that he wanted to fuck the commie out of me. Never spoke again. Played hard to get. No thanks. If you're gonna ghost me for days at a time and then get pissed off when I don't respond in 0.5 seconds, then that's not my problem.